Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne. This is uh, chapter in. This is the eighth chapter in the book, Comprehensive Prophets Manual. This is a chapter called "The Gift of Word of Knowledge." What is it? The gift of word of knowledge is having supernatural information about a person, past or present, which can startle them and bring clarity to their life. When you share words of knowledge with a person, they really sit up and take notice. Many people are impressed when they go to a psychic or clairvoyant, and the clairvoyant says things about them and their life and people that they love, information that they couldn't possibly know in the natural sense. And I had a carer that works with me. She went to a clairvoyant last week, and she was so amazed at all the details the clairvoyant had, and I know that the clairvoyant, their spirit guide, uses a familiar spirit who understands a person's life and knows everything about a person, and that's part of the hook that psychics and clairvoyants have, is the demonic words of knowledge that they have. So, understanding this principle, even though I'm talking about Satan's kingdom, understanding the principle that people impressed with words of knowledge uh, should compel you, should encourage you to become uh, really good at it. Words of knowledge. For instance, the Holy Spirit impressed upon me to share some words of knowledge about President Biden. If I shared words of knowledge about Donald Trump, you'd know them, and it would be easy. I've read a couple of books by Donald Trump and watched him 100 times on video, so I knew a lot of things about him, but I don't know many things about Biden. I'm not so much interested in him. So we could do an example of me doing a prophetic word for Biden, and we can have a look at the words of knowledge that come out. The first word of knowledge I get for President Biden is he's persistent. He'll persist on a certain thing for years and years, and he'll be persistent. Even if it is a bad thing, he'll persist at the bad thing. Um, he's a person of detail. He likes detail, and he pays attention to detail. We can't really judge things now that he's becoming a bit affected by dementia, but in his lifetime, he was a man of detail, and he liked all his dots crossed and all his T's crossed and his I's dotted. He liked everything in its right place. He's hardworking. Throughout his career, he's been a hard worker, and he's like I shared before, he's given attention to detail, and he's very detailed, even if he has a demonic agenda, even if he has a new world order agenda. He pays attention to the detail that he needs to apply to bring forth that agenda. Um, he has a certain amount of compassion for people that he loves and people that he comes across, um, and he exercises that compassion around people that are close to him. People understand that he has that. So they're words of knowledge, probably positive things to say about Biden. I've certainly heard a lot of bad things about him and seen him videos of him around young children and around women, and how he tends to grope people, but I didn't know those positive things about him. So if you approached him somehow, you were at a meeting and you approached him and shared those character traits with him, he'd be impressed. Um, what's good about a word of knowledge is it builds foundation for a prophetic word. When you speak a prophetic word to a person and you share 3 or 4 good characteristics about the person at the beginning of the word, uh, uh, and uh, and they're impressed with the 4 characteristics that you come out with, like I did with the 17-year-old stunning girl. When you go on to say other things which are prophetic, they believe it. So when I told her that she's beautiful inside and out, she was able to receive that because I'd already shared some of the things that are beautiful about her inside, and all the time she'd been hearing of people all the time how beautiful she is and how stunning she is and how gorgeous she is. She hasn't often heard people share the good things about inside her. So when you share words of knowledge with a person, it allows you to have something to build on, and has something for them to hold on to. I remember, 25 years ago, a person prophesying that I was in a really dark tunnel and I couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel. But one day there was going to be light at the end of the tunnel and I was going to receive some healing. Then, just as Billy Graham was known throughout the world, so shall your name be. And that's a pretty big prophecy, being as big as Billy Graham or well known as Billy Graham. But the thing that's held me for so long was I was in that dark tunnel. I was in a place where my wife had left me and she was divorcing me, and I was in a really sad place, only seeing my son every 2 weeks. And I was really depressed. I was in a tunnel that I never thought I'd come out of. And and it's because of that word of knowledge that he knew that has kept me believing that one day I'm going to be healed and one day I'm going to be used powerfully by the Lord. So, words of knowledge is the only part of a prophecy that someone can believe in, that you got it right. And so, when you tell them things about their future in the prophecy part of the prophetic word, or you tell them words of wisdom, you give them directions on what the Lord wants them to do, they're able to do the words of wisdom and believe for the prophetic part of the prophecy, believe for the future to come forth because you were accurate when you gave the words of knowledge. And so, word of knowledge is a really important gift, and it's a gift I specialize in and have become very proficient at. And you find if you read a book on Biden, or if you know anything about Biden, you'll find that those words of knowledge that I gave about him are accurate, and they would stand the test because I'm anointed by the Holy Spirit and led by the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit actually wanted me to do those words of knowledge on him. And so I trust that they're right. Over the years, you become very accurate with the words of knowledge, and you actually, some people, you actually do people a disservice by not sprinkling your prophetic words with a number of words of knowledge. Um, what people refer to as flowery prophecy, or prophecy that doesn't hold any weight, they're actually talking about prophecies that don't have words of knowledge in them, and things like that God's going to bless you this year, or you're going to prosper financially this year, or like this post and God's going to give you a promotion. But they don't have words of knowledge in them, and they're light and fluffy, and they float off into the sky like a cloud. But if you take the time and have the courage to do prophetic words with words of knowledge, they'll stand the test of time, just like that prophecy that I got 25 years ago that said that one day my name will be as popular as Billy Graham's. I hold on to that because I've come out of the tunnel and I'm going through healing at the moment. And one day God's going to raise me up, that I believe according to that prophecy, and I'm going to have a good influence in the world. I hope you enjoyed this chapter.